Please be advised that this is the last episode in this series of Murder Call. The following program is classified PG.
Let the gaily on we go, heave-toe, even-toe for toe, arm in a row in a row, out for Mary's wedding. Down by your place, up and down, birds in the green and the black and the brown, past the cheerleads through the town, for our darling Mary. Let the gaily on we go, heave-toe, even-toe for toe, arm in a row, out for Mary's wedding. Right, this is a loving time, when the lady in any star, there is stuff them all by far, it's our darling Mary. Let the gaily on we go, heave-toe, even-toe for toe, arm in a row, all for Chelsea Mary. Let the gaily on we go.
Now, the world of paleontology is a bit like a jungle. It's dinosaur eat dinosaur. Yes, well, it's not an exact science like chemistry or mathematics. Paleontology is ruled by theory. And you will hear a million theories, believe me. Most of them wishful thinking. Now, the only ones that matter are those that are based on these. Fossils, like the ceratopsian tooth. Now, if you're ever lucky enough to find one of these sacred objects, well, you could just about build an entire career on it. Isn't that right, Gabby? Right. Okay, we'll choose a spot. Come on, over the rope. Don't trip. Okay, now you'll have to spread out and make sure you don't brain your neighbours.
Jonathan, why don't you start work in A1?
Oh, because I've decided to start work here. All right, as I said, try not to kill anybody. Oh, my God. Some idiots dropped a bloody great load of dirt down here. Bloody cretins.
Go ahead, Central 10.
We have a deceased at this location. It appears suspicious. Could we have Central Detectives from Crime Centre 10?
Central 10, copy that.
Thanks, Nance. Seem to have found them all.
That's obviously human.
Can't see why we can't touch them anymore. Freshly dead?
Yeah, I'd say weeks.
I think days.
Yes, but the point is these remains shouldn't have been disturbed at all.
This is a crime scene. No one, and I include gifted amateurs in this, is to touch anything until I say so.
Gifted amateurs.
I studied 5 years for my qualification, Sergeant. How about you?
It's irrelevant. This is a crime scene.
Yes, well, let's see if we can find any more pieces to this jigsaw puzzle down there.
So you're not a paleontologist, Mr. Holly?
No, mate. I work for a living.
For VGI Constructions, is it?
Yeah, I'm the site supervisor. My job to keep an eye on this flea surface. One of my boys found a pointy bit of rock when we were digging the foundations. Turned out to be a dinosaur tooth. He made the mistake of ringing the university.
Mistake?
Well, before I know it, Dr. Charlie Minot, National Living Treasure, turns up and declares the site internationally significant. Some bloody thing. That was 6 weeks ago. Haven't done a lick of work since.
Hey, Dee, could you come and deal with this, please?
Excuse me, no media allowed here.
I'm not the media.
Charlie Minogue's biographer.
Well, it doesn't really matter who you are. If you don't turn it off, I'll have to do it for you.
It's for my book.
What, have you been here filming these bone retrievals?
Yeah.
Good. I'll have to confiscate the camera, please. Your stills as well, thanks.
OK, we will take both those cameras and they shall be returned to you when we've finished our investigations. Miss
Rowena Brewster.
Miss Brewster.
Thanks, sir. Thank you.
So you arrived here this morning at what time? About 8? Right, and what time did you leave last night?
At sunset, just before 6.
Okay, good, thank you. That means the bones must have been dumped here sometime overnight.
I better call Charlie before he hears it on the news. Excuse me.
Charlie's Dr. Minogue, right?
Yeah, the great white hunter himself. Gabby's better half.
And where is he, sir?
Well, he's doing his party trick at a seminar interstate. He's fundraising. You know, he'd be really sorry not to have been here, to have claimed this discovery for himself.
So we have 194 bones, close to an entire skeleton.
And all from the one body?
I'll have to run DNA checks to make sure. It's an adult. Can't be sure of the sex yet. Most of the pelvis is still missing and the other bones aren't particularly helpful.
Right. Well, what's with the pinkish colour?
Indicative of carbon monoxide poisoning and possibly recent. But what really confirms that this was a recent death is that the brain appears to be fresh and intact inside the skull. And that's not all. Feel the surface of the bone.
Touch it.
Go on.
Oh, it's rough, isn't it? It's like sandpaper.
I reckon that it's been sandblasted. Well, why would you do that? To rip the flesh away or what?
Imagine the mess.
Imagine the evidence. I would like to see where this deed was done.
A sandblaster?
How recently has it been used, Mr. Holly?
Oh, not recently to my knowledge. We're using second-hand bricks to match the facade. Some design guru's idea of high art. Now they'll be sandblasted clean once the walls are up.
Yeah. Who has access to this compound?
Well, let me see. There's me, the boss, half a dozen of the contractors, security company, the eggheads.
Why the eggheads?
Well, we're lending them some of our gear.
Does that include the tip truck, sir?
Sure. Well, you don't think the dirt was moved in that?
It's very charitable of you, Mr. Holly, lending your equipment.
Oh, well, the sooner they finish playing around the dirt, the sooner we get shot of them.
Yeah, it must be costing you a lot of money having to hold up work like this.
Well, there's this thing called insurance, sweetheart. It covers everything from cyclones to disturbing abo burial grounds.
Yeah, but it wouldn't cover the bone nest that you'd make if you finished on time, would it?
Yeah, but look, if I want to turf them out, all I've got to do is flood the joint. But I'm not that desperate. Well, yet.
For a second there, I thought it was my Auntie Renee.
Excuse me. Dr. Minogue's office, which way is
It's done that way.
That way, thank you.
Thank you. No, there's nothing else. Louise didn't check in either. Say it, you think they're off together?
Detectives, what can we do for you?
We need to know who in your team has a key to the construction equipment compound.
Well, there's a key kept permanently in Charlie's caravan.
His caravan?
Well, wherever Charlie goes, the caravan goes. It's a sort of a mobile office. It's parked up behind the site.
And I've just learnt my husband never arrived at the seminar, and I can't raise him on his mobile.
Oh, and Louise Chi didn't arrive either. She's travelling with Charlie. She's his assistant.
Jonathan thinks they snuck off together somewhere. He thinks they're probably going at it like rabbits as we speak.
Oh, Mr. Searle, may I take the photos?
Oh, yes, it's fine.
Is this the famous tooth? May I?
Belongs to a ceratopsian.
Is that supposed to be fur on its back?
You know about Gondwana?
The supercontinent we used to be a part of.
Oh, well done. Yes, it was all a lot closer to the South Pole when that creature roamed the Earth. We think our polar dinosaurs were warm-blooded. They needed something to keep out the cold, and now we have to find the rest of him.
Well, thank you both very much for your time. Steve.
Steve?
Thanks.
Yeah, I think we need to get a hold of Charlie Minogue's dental records, just in case.
Yeah.
What do you think of Gabby Minogue? She's very beautiful, isn't she? vulnerable. Be careful.
Excuse me. What are you getting at?
Well, getting involved with the suspect. You've been there, just as I say, be careful.
Great. Look, thank you, but I'm not some predator who devours gorgeous women for breakfast, okay?
Okay.
Probably had an extra layer of fat on him. Maybe even fur or feathers to keep him warm.
Dr. Charles Minogue, our missing paleontologist, and the woman behind him there is his wife, Gabby Minogue.
Okay, Tootsie's confirmed it. He is our victim.
Right. Why do you think the killer would go to all the trouble of dismembering him?
Disassembling, more like it.
Well, obviously not to prevent ID, eh?
It's some sort of black joke, isn't it? I mean, the great bone hunter reduced to bones on his own bone dig site.
Do you think she thinks it's funny?
That is Louise Chi.
Where?
That's Charlie Minogue's assistant. She's supposed to be at the seminar with him.
Well, we'd better get her in for a chat.
Well, when we can find her.
Excuse me? Sergeant Fisk said he's found the butcher's shop.
Right, we've hit pay dirt. Now, shipping containers are normally used for storage. Not this one, however, it's empty. Now, look, it has been hosed out. It's been hosed out, but not particularly thoroughly. So take a deep breath and step inside. Constable, close the door after us, will you?
Oh, I don't have to go in then?
No.
That's good.
Sandblasting the body, jointing the bones. It's a messy business. Got bags of tissue samples.
Lucky you.
I've seen enough. Thanks, Fisk.
Okay, Dee, could you open that now? Dee, could you
Little claustrophobic, are we?
Sorry,
That's
sorry, I was
fine.
stuck.
Fine. It's fine.
Yeah, Malcolm. What I would really like to find are the killer's clothes. They would really have a story to tell. We'll stay with it, all right? Okay, thanks. Okay, there's no sign of Louise Chi. She's not at home, not at the university, not at her usual haunts. She's vanished.
I always thought Charlie was indestructible.
Would you like a glass of water, perhaps? Okay, take your time.
I last saw Charlie late yesterday afternoon.
Yeah.
I went home. He went back to the caravan to write up his notes for the day. He was catching a cab to the airport from the caravan first thing this morning.
So you saw him last at...
I already told you, at around 6. You're checking to see if I contradict myself. You suspect me.
Please understand, it is our job to establish everyone's movements, okay? Just take your time.
It's off on the sparse, isn't it? I've read that. I got home just after 7:30. Watched a bit of some dreary old movie I taped, got bored and went to bed.
Okay. Did you have contact with anyone during the evening? Your husband phoned, for example?
No one called.
All right, what about children?
We don't have any.
Okay. You said Jonathan Searle believes your husband was involved with Louise Chi. Do you believe that?
Charlie had always found it hard to resist pretty young assistants. That's how he met me. His first wife couldn't tolerate it. I told myself I could. He was spending a lot of time with Louise, yes. Was he screwing her? Probably. But I have no proof.
Everyone knew about Charlie and Louise. Charlie did not believe in discretion. Check this out. He is famous for prodding his sexiest students. Swaps them over when he gets sick of them.
Miss Brewster, just let me get this straight. You're writing Dr. Minogue's authorised biography, yeah?
Charlie commissioned it himself.
So, why dig up all this dirt on him?
Well, it's supposed to be warts and all. And Charlie figured a bit of slap and tickle here and there would give it a boost. Enhance sales.
Did he ever proposition you?
I think that's my business.
What do you think wrong?
Well, he offered to give me a massage once or twice. I declined. Should have accepted. I would have been a hit on the talk show circuit after this.
Miss Brewster, do you have an alibi for last night?
Me?
Yeah.
Why would I want to kill him? I reviewed the tapes I made yesterday. This is at my flat, right? Then I went clubbing. Got home about 2 or 3.
And can anyone confirm that?
No, I was travelling solo.
So you didn't take anyone home then?
No. No one appealed.
No sign of any forced entry. Come in.
Yeah, thanks.
What we have here is a thin film of soot over the windows, in fact everything. Note the damp seats, also there's moisture on the ceiling.
Excuse me.
How hard would it be to gas someone in here, Fisk?
Easy by the looks of it.
What's happened is a hose has been connected up to the exhaust, the old four-wheel drive out there. Yeah. It's been run underneath the van and up connected to the drain pipe at the sink here.
Right. Do you mind if we have a look through?
No, not at all. Off you go. We've got pipes, tobacco, toiletries, fishing rods, CDs. Now, someone loved Irish music and Irish beer.
Fisk, I know I'm generalising, but would you say that this is solely a man's domain?
Well, everything points to a single male occupant. There was an overnight bag packed, there was men's clothes. However, we found several long dark hairs.
Louise Chi?
Well, no, that's pure speculation. There's no evidence of that or of any recent sexual activity. There's no sexual fluids on the sheets, no used prophylactics in the bin.
It's not big enough for a love nest. You do your backing. So I should imagine.
You know, gassing someone doesn't feel like a lover's revenge.
Well, it doesn't seem spontaneous. It does seem premeditated, I'll give you that.
Tell me about Charlie and Louise.
What?
What do you know?
So that's what you're worried about. This department is on the verge of budgetary meltdown because Charlie couldn't run a lucky dip of the church fete. And all you can think about is whether your dearly departed ever really loved you or not.
You're not man enough to criticise Charlie, Jonathan.
No, that's right. Just can't seem to bring myself to spend most of my time trying to seduce my students. Do you want to know something? I'm glad he's dead.
May we have a word, sir?
These things just pop out sometimes, you know how it is.
So we heard.
Where were you last night, Mr. Tull?
I was shopping for scatter cushions. You know, probably sounds ridiculous, but it's absolutely true. And I went home and I made myself a late supper and I spent about an hour or so just playing solitaire on my computer.
Okay, can you prove that?
Charlie was my friend, you know, and my mentor. And I'm gonna miss him.
Do you know where we can find Louise Chi, sir?
Well, why don't you try Hong Kong? I mean, it's obvious, isn't it? She's killed him, she's done a runner.
What can you tell us about Jonathan Searle?
Well, for a start, he's got no balls.
Really?
I mean, he's always complaining about Charlie behind his back, but sweet as pie to his face.
And what's the dirt on him?
Well, he hated Charlie. He has never forgiven him for being bigger, brighter, smarter, tougher, and of course, more famous. You heard about the warm-blooded dinosaur theory?
Yeah, they had fur coats, according to Minot.
That wasn't Charlie's theory at all. Jonathan came up with it a couple of years ago, but Charlie liked it so much he took it for himself. You reckon Jonathan killed him out of professional jealousy?
Thanks so much for coming in, Miss Brewster.
I bet you she works as a part-time stripper or something.
She's a woman in charge of her own sexuality, Malcolm.
She's a sexual praying mantis. She'd eat Charlie Minogue whole and then pick her teeth with these bones.
Yeah, well, it would boost the book sales, wouldn't it?
If she killed Charlie, did right.
Professional jealousy thing with Jonathan is a little more likely, don't you?
Yeah, I can just see Jonathan Searle sitting at home amongst his scatter cushions, plotting his elaborate revenge.
Of course we argued. Charlie and I always argued.
Argued or fought?
Ah, so now I'm Indiana Jones, am I? Whips at 30 paces, yeah?
Well, he stole your idea, didn't he? You must have hated him for that.
Nope.
So you just let people walk all over you, do you?
No.
Did you kill Charlie Minogue?
No.
So who inherits your department? You?
It's a possibility.
All right, now, fellas, cut the rope. I want the knot intact. That's it.
Could you leave the noose around her neck, please? Okay. Thank you. This must be the season for asphyxiation.
It's definitely Louise G. There's no doubt about that. An extraordinary place for her to take her own life. Some sort of a statement, do you think?
We'll let you know what we think, sir.
How did you get in here, Miss Brewster? D?
I know the back way.
This is a murder investigation, not a home movie. I'm sure you understand that any information has to go through me before it can be released. And I would like your assurance on that. Thank you, Miss Brewster.
Come on. Try this again. I'll have to give orders to have you shot on sight. Now, there's rope fibres present on the neck. And ligature mark is consistent with strangulation. But, you see this mark here? This is what the hanging rope caused, high up under her chin and behind the ears. But look here.
That's another ligature mark.
Yep. It's darker, lower down the neck. She was strangled by the rope before she was strung up.
So murder made to look like suicide.
The rope is common climbing rope, otherwise known as a static line. It was a hangman's noose. Anyone could have done that.
Okay. You got a time of death?
Yes, 30 hours ago at least.
Yeah, Tess, me.
What are you people still poking around for? I mean, what's left to find?
We're looking for clues to the identity of Charlie Minogue's killer. They were Mr. Minogue's bones. Mr. Holly?
Okay, I confess. It was me. I'm the crazed killer. Take me away.
All right, Mr. Holly. Sir, did you ever see Dr. Minogue, Louise Chi, in his caravan?
Well, they didn't invite me to join in, if that's what you mean.
Did you see them together in the caravan on the night of the murder, sir?
Oh, they could have been. Look, my philosophy's live and let live. If the bloke's having it off with her, good luck to him. Well, she's a tasty little item.
She's also dead, Mr. Holly.
Did you see them in or around the caravan, sir?
Look, I was out of here at 6:30. I had my kid's speech night. I already told one of your uniform people.
Right, so you saw nothing out of the ordinary or no one acting suspiciously?
Oh, look, the whole bloody lot of them act suspiciously, if you want my opinion. I mean, grown-ups, playing in the dirt like a pack of bloody school kids.
Is that a yes or a no, sir?
That's a no.
Thank you.
You chucked the leg over there yet? Hey?
Right, somebody wants us to think that Louise killed Charlie, then herself, presumably because she was unable to cope with the consequences of her crime.
And that same person probably killed them both at the same time.
Gabby Minogue. See, it's classic. She kills her unfaithful husband and his lover.
That's if she's a homicidal maniac type.
Constable, everybody's homicidal, given the right set of stimuli.
Remind me not to park in your space again, sir.
Yeah, that'd do it.
All right, let's look at this. Jonathan Searle may have killed Charlie Minogue to get his share of the limelight, but then Rowena Brewster is possibly ambitious enough to kill him for publicity reasons. Bob Holly might have wanted him out of the way so that he could get his construction project back on track.
Yes, but who else but Gabby wants Louise out of the way?
Well, what if Louise saw the killer, whoever that was, taking Minogue apart piece by piece? You know, she spent a lot of time with him. It's very likely that she witnessed something.
You obviously don't think Louise murdered Charlie, then?
Tell us about Louise Chi.
I didn't have much to do with her. She's only been in the country a matter of months and came down from Hong Kong to do some first-grade work.
What else?
Well, she was smart, had a good brain for figures. She did accountancy before she switched to geology and... Well, Charlie had her keeping an eye on the cash flow at the digs.
What was she like as a person, Mr. Searle?
I don't have any opinion of her as a person.
I resented the hell out of her.
He'd had other pretty assistants before, hadn't he?
Louise was different.
How's that?
The way he treated her.
What, you thought that he was in love with her, did you? Were you afraid that she might become the third Mrs. Minogue?
Yes.
So you killed her?
No, I didn't.
Well, it looks as though someone took the ultimate revenge on Charlie and his lover. Who's that going to be but you?
I don't know.
Whoever it was must have really hated Charlie to do what they did to him.
But I didn't hate him, I loved him.
Well, they're two sides of the same coin, aren't they?
Hey, Tess, hey, that'll do it. Miss Minogue? Tony, take Miss Minogue downstairs, thanks.
Don't ever interrupt me during a line of questioning, all right?
You'd made your point, she'd made hers.
She made her point. I was interrogating a suspect. You were protecting one.
That's bull.
Is it? Well, you sounded very like her lawyer to me.
Her lawyer?
Yeah.
Before I was a predator?
Now, that was your choice of words, not mine, but it was well chosen.
What are you doing?
Why aren't you at home grieving, Gabby?
You're going to see the Vice-Chancellor, admit it.
Well, the king is dead. Long live the king.
Charlie would have wanted me to succeed him as head of the dig.
Yes, well, Charlie's dead. And you'll have to get used to it.
And just how do you think you're going to fund this project? You're nothing but a forgettable little bean counter, Jonathan. Nobody knows you. Nobody cares what you think. They'll be lining up round the block to see the brave widow of Charlie Minogue. Why don't we go and see the Vice-Chancellor together? And then you can tell him you think I should take over.
Right, from least likely to most likely. 4, 3, 2...
Malcolm, that's very simplistic. None of that straightforward, you know?
Right, can you explain to me how Gabby Minogue could have killed her husband, disposed of his body so elaborately, then had the time and energy to go back and kill Louise Chi, then stash her body until she strung her up in the exhibition hall?
That's your job.
She's not physically capable of it, Malcolm.
Well, she might have had some help. Did you consider that?
From who?
Maybe Charlie wasn't the only one to take a lover, you know?
You're not losing your objectivity here, are you?
No, I just want to see some evidence before I condemn the lady, Malcolm.
Now, that's a word I like. Yeah, you see if you can find me some of that.
I can't get a fix on her.
What does it matter? We know she's not the killer.
Well, Not necessarily. She might have killed him and then someone killed her.
All this belongs to Louise Chi, does it, sir?
Yeah. What exactly are you looking for?
Why don't you go, sir? We'll pull the door shut when we're through.
You'll leave the keys on my desk, right?
I will. Okay, what have we got? Radio. Bank checkbooks, statement of account.
Passport, birth certificate. Looks like she kept all her important papers in here.
Well, maybe better than leaving it at the boarding house.
Louise Daphne Chi, born 6th of June 1976.
On the 1st of this month, she had $633 in her bank account.
Mother, Margaret Gladys Chi, father unknown.
Okay.
Oh, Tessa! Well, I was just about to go out, as you can probably see.
Yeah, you look fantastic.
Oh,
Well
thank
done.
you. It's the pathologist's ball. We all drink far too much formaldehyde and throw our old bones around the floor.
But shh. This looks like a complicated job.
Oh, no, not if you remember that the toe bone's connected to the foot bone, and the foot bone's connected to the heel bone, and the heel bone's connected to the ankle bone. And is there something I could help you with?
Yes, absolutely. I need you to do to run a profile on Louise Chi's DNA for me.
Now?
Yeah, is that all right? Oh, have fun at the ball. Well, the hip bone's connected to the thigh bone. The thigh bone's connected to the knee bone. And the knee bone's connected to the shin bone. The shin bone's connected to the ankle bone. The ankle bone's connected to the foot bone. The foot bone's connected to the toe bone. Well, the shoulder bone's connected to the neck bone.
Read this rubbish. Go on, read that.
I got it. Bizarre double slaying an insider's view by Rowena Brewster.
I impress the importance on her to keep the details under wraps, and she goes and does that. She goes and does that, eh? I mean, words fail me. You hear me? Words fail me.
I hear you. Did you see this? VGI Construction's heading for the boneyard. Cash flow problems and spiralling construction costs are causing problems for VGI Construction.
Yeah, well, budget blowouts, they're not unusual. And where's Miss Vance on this dismal morning?
She's gone fishing.
Good morning, Detective. I assume you saw the paper. Little bitch. What is it?
Mrs. Minogue, is there anything you haven't told me about your husband's relationship with Louise Chi?
Such as?
What does that say to you?
That he had wandering hands. If you'd have met him when he was alive, you'd have found out that for yourself.
Mm-hmm. I have here Louise Chi's birth certificate. You see there, the father's name's been left blank. Now, I checked Rowena Brewster's research. It's interesting. She says that that Dr. Minogue was part of an international team working on a dig in Guangzhou, mainland China, in 1975. Louise was born in Guangzhou the following year. I think that Louise came to Australia to find her father.
She was Charlie's daughter?
So this young woman was your husband's daughter and you had no idea?
No.
I find that hard to believe.
We never talked about children. The subject was off limits.
Off limits? Why's that?
It was a condition when we married.
Mm-hmm.
Charlie didn't want any. He encouraged me to have my tubes tied. The bastard had a bastard all along. I wish he had been sleeping with her.
Would you sit down, please, Mrs. Minogue? So you resent him. That's understandable. You know, a woman who sacrifices her chance of having children and then stumbles across something like this, she has a right to be angry. She might even be angry enough to kill.
But I didn't know about it. I did not know. I'm not the one you want.
I didn't reveal any state secrets, did I?
I asked you to refrain from publishing or releasing any details regarding this case.
I didn't know any details.
But you've spilled your guts anyway, eh? Describe the crime scene, discuss my officers, and analyse every person that we've got on our interview list.
I didn't name the killer.
You've hindered a police investigation. And what's worse, you may have wrecked the Crown's case when it goes to court. You see, if you've mentioned the person we charged, then the defence is going to argue that he or she might not get a fair trial, both feet on the floor when you're in my office. Thank you very much. Hope your editor made it worth your while. Now, this book, it obviously means a lot to you, right?
It's my big break.
And I'd hazard a guess and say that there's nothing that you wouldn't do to ensure its success. Does that include murder?
I will call my lawyer if you're going to start throwing accusations around.
I've applied for a suppression order. Now, if your book contains any mention of Dr. Minogue's death, then you're going to have to wait till after the trial to publish. And that means waiting till the appeal process is exhausted, and that can take years. I asked you nicely to cooperate. You didn't. That's it. On your bike.
Double toil and trouble. Alert the press about this, you bitch.
No, it's got nothing to do with Louise Chi. Charlie was the target. She just happened to be there.
All right, well, then why didn't she die the same way as Charlie? Why didn't she die of carbon monoxide poisoning?
Because,
do you mind?
like you said before, she could have arrived at the caravan afterwards, right? The killer sees her and decides he's got to kill her as well.
All right, well, then why wasn't her body disposed of the same way as Charlie's?
Well, it was a godsend opportunity to set her up as the killer.
It's incredibly clear-headed, isn't it?
Yeah, which is why I don't think Gabby's involved. It's not a crime of passion.
Right, okay.
I see, we're right on the verge of solving this case, aren't we?
Not so you'd notice.
Well, here's your search warrants. Now, that may help. Right. Take their houses apart, because whoever sandblasted Charlie Minogue got splattered with him. Now, hopefully, they haven't burnt or washed their clothes. And this might be the time when we get lucky.
Hey, Steve, if you want Fiskies with Tootsie sifting dirt at the construction site. Did you see this?
What? She was smart. Had a good brain for figures.
Hey, Steve, I can go and pick up Fisk. Whose house are we doing first?
Do we still need to search their houses? Probably not.
What do you mean, a waste of time?
There's no point. We're not going to find anything.
Oh, you know that for a fact, do you?
We need the warrant to access bank accounts.
After I've twisted the magistrate's arms to get 3 search warrants to search premises. All right, whose bank account?
Well, the killer's, I hope.
Do you recognise this bank account, Mr. Holly?
It's mine, that's what it says.
Good. Sir, these bank statements go back 18 months. Can you explain these large amounts here, the ones I've got circled?
None of your bloody business.
You've been stealing from BGI Construction, haven't you, Mr. Holly? Now, did Charlie tell you that Louise had discovered your scam, or did you work that out for yourself?
Charlie made the mistake of coming to you about it, didn't he? What do you want, sir? Special favours for his dig team? You killed Charlie, didn't you? You made it look as though it related to his work and not yours.
And then you killed Louise. You thought, she had to die anyway, and maybe you'd get lucky. Maybe it'd look as though she'd killed a lover and then committed suicide out of the grief.
But you're not that lucky, are you, Bob?
No, you're not, because Louise was Charlie Minogue's daughter, Mr. Holly.
You must have had a big night, Bob. You gassed Charlie, strangled Louise, stored her body, then sandblasted his body, then buried his bones in his own dig.
Oh, you can prove that, can you?
Well, we've got a shipping container smothered with fingerprints, haven't we?
A shipping container smothered in fingerprints, huh?
Yeah, well, I never said whose fingerprints. Go.
Hey, Bob, where you going?
If you don't move, sir, your arm won't break. Well done, Dean. I'm impressed.
Nice work, Constable.
Yeah, it's all in the timing, I think.
All right. Come on, Bob. Up you get.
D colony.
Yep, an iron fist and an iron glove, apparently.
Well, I suppose she deserves a pat on the back. Where's she got to?
Yes, amazing. First I thought it was a piece of fossilised wood, being a gifted amateur. Then it slowly dawned on me, of course, it's a jawbone. A huge jawbone.
Incredible. It's what we've been looking for. Absolute evidence of ceratopsian. And if we're clever enough and patient enough, we'll find out how old he was, what he ate, how he died.
Sounds familiar, Fizz?
I wish Charlie had been alive to see it. Thank you.
How about I get a photo of this momentous occasion?
Yes, indeed, a photo. Good idea, Dee, for once.
All right, you look lovely. Say, Stegosaurus.
Stegosaurus!